20 strong chess players from 9 federations compete in St. Louis. USChessChamps.com presents the 3rd annual Winter Chess Classic. Hello, chess fans. Welcome back to St. Louis for Round 3 of the 2019 Winter Chess Classic. I'm Ben Simon, substituting for National Master Caleb Denby, and alongside Woman Grandmaster Sabina Foisor. Sabina,
hi.
Day 3, we're still here. No catastrophes yet. So there's a lot going on so far. What do you think of the tournament?
It's really exciting. I'm so happy we see or at least we saw so far a lot of decisive results. But today, indeed, it seems like it might be more of a quiet day. It's cold outside. Maybe everyone is trying to relax a little bit.
A peaceful day.
Maybe peaceful day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at the standings so far after 2 rounds in Group A. All right. Well, we're going to hold off on that in just a moment. Do we have the tournament format? All right, let's roll that tournament format. If you're just joining us for the first time, we encourage you to check out USChessChamps.com. This event, it's the same as it's always been. 2 10-player round robins. The time control is 90 minutes for the first 40 moves, and then 30 minutes added on after 40 moves for each player. There's a 30-second increment from move number 1. So, yeah, for the kids out there, you got to take notation the entire time. And there are no draw offers before Black's 30th move to encourage fighting chess. And our schedule is as follows. There's no rest days. We're going straight through until Monday, November 18th, 1 p.m. Central Round Time start every day. Our show goes on the air live at 3:30 p.m. Central Time. And you can check us out at USChessChamps.com and on YouTube. We are happy to chat with you in the chat. Pardon me, my earpiece just fell out there. My goodness. But yes, like I said, USChessChamps.com. If you're on Twitter or Facebook, use the hashtag WinterChessClassic. And we are ready to take a look at our standings in the A section, our Masters Division. The 4 players at the top at +1 are 4 veterans of the St. Louis Chess Club competitions. Of course, Jeffery Xiong, the former World Junior Champion, former Classic Champion here at the club. Gregory Oparin, who is a former Classic Champion here at the club. Rinat Jumabayev has been here before, looking for his first field victory. And of course, the former junior phenom himself, Daniel Naroditsky, now 23 years old. They're all tied at the top. Let's take a look at our B group standings, our challenger section, if you will. Now, we actually have some players a little out of order here, but I'm going to give you the top 4. Melik Khachiyan, Tigran Haratyunyan, Alexei Sorokin, and Federico Perez Ponza. Much like the A group, we have 4 players sitting at +1, and so we'll be taking a look and profiling them here today. The prize fund for this tournament, a very generous offering.
Indeed.
$36,000 total. In Field A, the winning champion will get $6,000, and in Field B, the winning champion will get $4,000. Okay, without wasting any more time, these games are coming to a head. Let's take a look at our pairings for Group A. Now, in Group A, all of the games are still underway. Sam Sevian versus Grandmaster Sethu. We have Rinat Jumabayev versus Viktor Erdos of Hungary. Daniel Naroditsky versus Gregory Oparin. That is a matchup I want to keep my eye on because we have 2 of the leaders playing right there.
That's true, yeah. There are some other very interesting games going on.
Absolutely.
I think.
Alexei Sarana versus Varuzhan Akobian. And our key matchup today, they say it's pretty darn interesting, Gabuzyan versus Jeffery Xiong. Sabina, let's take a glance at our first key matchup.
Yes, because both of the players had an amazing first round. They won some great games, and then yesterday Gabuzyan actually lost, and Jeffery made a draw against Samuel Sevian, and today they are playing each other, and this is the current position that we have. I think I like white in this position. I'll take white. I really think white is a little bit more active. This queen in h4 seems a little bit out of play. What I found interesting about this game early on is the opening, Ben. As you are keeping up with the games, of course, you're the past 2 days, I noticed Jeffrey was playing the Scotch with white. He had 2 whites, and both times he played the Scotch. And guess what? Today, it is time to play it again, just this time with the black pieces. So I found that to be a really interesting thing. Maybe we can bet on how many times someone gets to play the same opening.
I don't recall. Did you ask him when he was in here about the Scotch?
He was not here yesterday.
It must have been just the first day.
Yeah, the first day, and he had this very interesting preparation that he had knight f6, knight takes c6, b takes c6, and bishop d3, and he had a very, very beautiful game the first round. And then he has changed a little bit his setup against Sevian. Of course, I didn't have the time to interview him yesterday, but I can see today he's not going for those lines. Maybe he doesn't want someone to play against him that same line. You know, when you win, you have some good analysis. You don't want to share so much. So, of course, okay, I'm just kidding now, but it is nice to see him play with both colors. And I think as a chess player, if you really want to get better, it's very good to learn your openings with both colors and feel confident to play them. So bishop c5 was played. This is like a pretty standard theory. Knight b3 is maybe not one of the main lines, but what usually happens here is after knight takes c6, black usually goes for this idea, queen f6, putting pressure on f2, and then they get to recapture the knight, and I think black usually enjoys this position. Are you familiar with these?
I'm actually not.
Okay.
What is white's best move right here, would you say?
White's best move, usually it's queen e2 or queen d2, I believe. One of those 2 moves is what white plays to protect the pawn. Of course, it's a little bit unpleasant because whichever square you choose for the queen, you're going to block one of your bishops. So afterwards, you have to move the queen to take those bishops out, but it's they're really long lines that we get to that need to be studied, I guess, if you're playing this line. But knight b3 is, I think, still a pretty good line. It's just not one of the top ones. Gabuzyan seemed to be a very aggressive player, so maybe he didn't want to allow for the pressure in f2. So in this way, for example, I think queen f6. Actually, I never asked myself what would happen if queen f6, but it doesn't seem as natural here in this position. So he went for knight e7. This is usually the way black chooses to finish their development. Queen e2. Now, ideas in this position for white are to try to make sure we have control over the e file so that we avoid any kinds of d5s for black. Black needs to finish their development, so they might try to challenge this pawn in the center. So queen e2, and then with this move also white basically says, I'm going to lock my bishop in f1, but I'm going to prepare for some long side castling and potential attacks. And I think that's kind of what eventually happened in the game. If we move along a little bit, castle, bishop e3. Black is trying to, as I mentioned, challenge that pawn in the center with f5, castle, and now f4. Not sure about, yeah, maybe f4 is, what do you think about f4, Ben?
Well, it's adventurous. I like that move. I mean, at this point, should white exchange the bishops or retreat it back to d2?
Retreat it back seems a little bit too passive.
There's no future, right?
Yeah, the pieces are kind of locked, and if you're going to go for an attack, you really cannot afford to waste too much time. So bishop takes b6 seems...
I've never seen a bishop move like that. Man, that's crazy.
Bishop takes b6, pawn takes b6, and now you can be a little bit worried, I agree, because you're opening up black's a file directly on your king, but the way black's pawn structure is, it makes it difficult for them to actually bring the pieces to attack. So I think Gabuzyan is not really worried about this attack. The knight in c3 is doing, for the moment, a good job protecting. And now he's going to try to actually take advantage of the fact that this pawn is in f4 and maybe try to open up the position on the king side. We'll see. So he plays f3 first, d6, a3. This is an interesting move, trying to prevent any kinds of knight b4. Black finishes their development. Now we have queen d2. I think the position is pretty balanced for the moment. And black decides to make this positional trade, giving up the bishop for the knight here in b3, which in a way you really don't want to give the pair of bishops, but you are creating some weaknesses in white's territory, and you might try to take advantage of that. It's not so easy, you know? It's because any kind of ideas with b5, b4, for example, for black, if you manage to prepare it, white probably will consider playing some a4 and then just keep the position closed. If you can challenge that pawn once again with b5, it would be great, but it's always going to be a fight, I think.
Okay, so is this the current position?
No, this is not the current position.
This reminded me of Eric Rosen did a lecture here once on, I think he called them pawn clumps. I don't know if that's a formal term. That's a pawn clump, wouldn't you say, those three pawns on A and B? And
like this train, right?
Yes, it's not a lost cause until it's just two isolated double pawns, right?
Correct. Okay. And if they are on an open file, then it's certainly helpful for for the opponent, but here they are not. Actually, both colors do have those B doubled pawns, so in a way it's going to be very hard to actually try to find a way to attack them, but King B1, bringing the king away from the C file. Maybe this file actually, you know, it's good to keep the king a little bit safer. I think this is a perfect placement, especially since you mentioned those pawns, B2 and B3, kind of keeping the king safe. And now, checking rook e1. Okay, so white basically just completed their development, put their rooks on central files. This seems very natural. C6. All right, preparing for some b5. White retreated. This is more of a prophylactic move. You don't want b5 to be played with tempo, so you're just getting ready for the moment when b5 will be played. So here you can choose what you want to do. And I really like this move, because otherwise, if, for example, you'd make any kind of random move here, let's just even put the h3, the ideas that you want to avoid in general, when there is somewhat of a hook here. So like if black gets this pawn to b4 to attack these two pieces, black will force an opening of the file. So b5 would come with tempo here. You need to go back and then maybe b4. And here I would force you to do something about this pawn in b4. You cannot just move the knight. I mean, you could, but then I would take and then I open the a file. And then if you take here, I have succeeded in doing what I wanted. Yeah. So this is a very typical idea. And that's why I believe Gabuzyan just preventive, retreating with the bishop so that b5 didn't come with tempo. And now knight to e2, making sure that b4 doesn't come with tempo, because he wanted to answer probably with a4. I mean, in this specific position, maybe he can even capture that pawn with the queen. But if black were to prepare it a little bit more, I'm sure a4 were to be played. Let's move a little bit faster maybe here to get to the current position. I can see how excited you are about that.
We're just moseying along. I dig it.
Yeah. So it's, as I said, it's not so easy for black to actually get on the queen side. So it seems like Jeffery is actually focusing a little bit towards the king side. Queen g6, knight to c2, and now he plays queen h5. Okay, I like this idea, queen h5, attracting h3, which means now it's going to be kind of difficult for white to push g3, because the pawn has moved. Okay, but I'm not sure if I want to leave this queen over here. It doesn't seem natural the queen to be on the other side of the board than the opponent's king, right?
Right. Well, what if the g pawn just doesn't move? I mean, then yeah, the queen certainly looks worse for wear.
Yeah. So he brought it there maybe to attract this move, so that g3 now is not possible. So maybe I'm thinking maybe he could try to bring the queen back into the game on the other side of the board. Maybe something like this, and I don't know. I would get it on the a file. Maybe like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just dreaming here, but I just feel like black would need the queen on the other side. But he went for knight f7. This move, seems like, okay, you want to protect d6, but at the same time that knight is so strong there. That's an outpost. Why would you want to move it away from there? Personally, I'm not happy, of course, you know. I have this difficult job, I think we both do, to analyze games of very strong grandmasters. So I feel a little bit intimidated to say, you know, this move is not good, or I don't like it.
We'll just walk softly, Sabina. We'll walk softly.
We try, but I just personally, from the standpoint of, you know, positional idea, I do not understand exactly what he was thinking. Hopefully, we'll find out soon. Queen h4. All right, so now white makes sense what white did. Just doubling up on the d file, putting pressure on d6, and it's not so sure how we are going to attack it another time to actually be able to capture it, but let's see. All right, so a4. Oh, wow. Yeah, this move I did not expect. I was looking forward to black playing b4, but I guess, a4. All right, so,
well, that's certainly an unexpected move, and we'll have to see the implications of that coming up. But Sabina, before we get too in-depth in this game, let's take a look at our B pairings and see what's going on. I know we have at least one result thus far in the B group. Alexei Sorokin has defeated young Christopher Yu, rather. And in the other games, Sergei Azarov versus Sergei Ehrenberg, Justin Wang versus Haratunyan, Emilia Cordova versus Federico Perez Panza, and our key matchup, I'm sure you'll be interested today, Grandmaster Khachiyan-Moradiabadi against one of my good friends, Grandmaster Melik Khachiyan. Let's take a glance at this game. We may have an interview here coming up as well.
Sure.
Now, Elshan yesterday had a rough day. He was very bothered by the fact that he had dropped a pawn, and he just thought he wasn't on his game. But today is a new day, and things may go in his favor. Let's take a look.
Sure. So yeah, yesterday was a tough day for him. I don't know what happened. Maybe I wasn't supportive enough to help him with the preparation. And then I had to interview his opponent, which was kind of turned out in a very funny online video.
I think what you said was fair. We wish you luck, but not too much luck.
Yeah.
And you came up with it totally by yourself. It's not like anybody whispered that in your ear at all, is it?
Yeah, nobody did. No, I just came up with that by myself. Anyway, so today he's playing Grandmaster Melik Khachiyan, who's actually has been the coach or captain of the women's Olympic team for quite some time, so I know him very well. But you know, you have to. You can be friends outside of the chessboard, but I always tell everyone, you know, you have to play because this is also a competition. So when you get to play against a friend, you still have to play as if they were not your friend.
Yeah.
So
that's
I guess
really fun how these relations interact here at this Winter Classic.
That is true, and it's not so easy here. A lot of things have changed since actually I have last seen this position. So I have this rook endgame where black is a pawn now, but that usually does not matter so much in rook endgames. White is way more active. It seems like got some pressure on that g pawn.
And now, on the 7th rank in general, right?
And 7th rank, of course. b7 is very weak, and then white has this protected passed pawn, which is, you know, very good. But now white is in check, so we have to kind of see what is the best placement of the king. Because if we go back a few moves, actually, so white gave up, traded the knights. There were some knights on the board a little bit earlier, so knight f3 just trading the knights, And then now gives up that h pawn, right? So that's not something you expect to do, but if you get active, that's always something very important. So rook f7. Okay, let's just try to imagine we make some move here, Ben, right? So let's say we go king to d3, for example, right?
Okay.
So now in this position, white still has the pressure in g7, and of course pressure in b7. And black has two moves that or maybe three that we should consider. One is just play g5 and try to just make sure you don't give up that pawn and don't allow white's both rooks on 7th rank. Some other option would be to maybe go rook to g5 and offer a pair of rook trade, but I think if that were to happen, that should be really lost for black if we actually put it on the board. I believe we can trade, and then I would go for rook takes b7. Now we're threatening this pawn. I think the king should be able to stop the g pawns, and this pawn should be very strong for white, help white win this position. What do you think?
Well, pushing the e pawn won't work, right? Because the king.
Not yet, not yet. So
Yeah.
for example, if you were to play like rook f8 or something, I could push. I probably should take here, and we have to see, for example, g4. What would be the best decision for white? I would definitely try to do something like this and go grab the pawn back. And then I have this very strong pawn.
Sabina, I had a question.
Yes, of course.
In the position before this, I think it might be the current position.
The current position,
where
yes.
we're aiming at the g pawn.
Mm-hmm.
If Elshan captures g7, rook on g to g7, will this end in an immediate repetition?
I mean, I would, if I get my both rooks on this, for example, if say you take here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so, no. This should not be something that black would like to get.
You mean white would like to get?
Yeah, white would like, black would not like, yes. I think e7 should be, maybe not yet. I really want to play e7. The problem is I don't really have a threat. When I check you here, you would capture my rook, so that wouldn't really work. It seems like Elshan actually has made a move, so let's just see. Yeah, so this is the current position. So he actually did play king to d3, and Grandmaster Khachiyan answers g5. Elshan seems very confident. I'm looking at him. Oh, all right. So this was his idea, okay. He seems pretty confident. He's, I guess sometimes I know him, you know, just looking at his, the way he's facial.
Well, so many chess players, you can't tell.
That's true. But with Elshan, sometimes when he's confident, I think I can tell. I'm not sure 100%. Let's just not try to jinx it or something, right?
You just saw Rina Jumabayev in the foreground. We haven't talked to him yet in this tournament, but
hopefully at some point
definitely
we'll have him
will.
down here.
Yeah, but this is definitely a fun game to look at. I'm kind of worried though, Sabina, about the black rook on the e file cutting.
Mm-hmm.
If I was white, I would be very apprehensive about getting my king trapped away, unable to stop that free g pawn of black moving down the board. Is that something I should be concerned about?
Actually, I've just seen a new idea, and actually I like this move that Elshan made rook g to f1. Here's the idea that he has. So, for example, you just take the pawn, right? Because we're worried about that rook. Not only is it restricting white's king, but it's also putting pressure on it. If black manages to, you know, if you just recapture, manages to take and then go back, probably, you know, you don't really want to get that with white. But I believe this is Elshan's idea, e7. The idea after this move is rook f8 check, and I do not see a way for black to stop it. You can take here with check, okay, that's just one check that you give, and after this, I believe blacks should resign. Rook f8 cannot be stopped, see? After rook f8, we're just trading everything, and queen will be promoted. All right, a few more moves were played. Okay, this seems interesting. All right, so black played rook to e8. This is definitely stopping e7, because if you're going to play e7, of course one of the rooks was going to capture your pawn. So Xiong goes for king to d4 immediately. Okay, so he's trying to attract probably black to play c5. So Ben, the thing is, when you have two rooks, an endgame with two rooks, so both of us with the two rooks, it is very important, in my opinion, to keep the rooks connected, working together. In this case for black, they only have this one rook that's active, right? So possibly being able to support those H and G pawns and also restricting white's king. But unfortunately, this rook in e8 is not doing so much and doesn't seem like it's going to be able to get activated anytime soon. So that is the problem. If somehow you could connect them, maybe you'd have some chances. Of course, you also have a pawn up. So, but in this case, if, for example, black was to play c5, we just retreat back to d3. And even if we're restricted, these pawns cannot be pushed by themselves with these rooks. You know, we have ideas with rook f6, some checks. One of those pawns is going to fall. So I think probably black in this position could consider capturing, but the problem after this is that you still cannot really get your rook active, because as soon as the rook moves away from the e file, e7 is going to be played. So it's definitely a very tough position for black, in my opinion. Maybe there's something that I don't see. I do not have, you know, I'm not using a computer, any engine currently, so hopefully I'm not missing something.
We don't use engines too much around here.
Yeah.
I mean, we can.
We could, but I think it's much nicer if, you know, our viewers get the chance to see our perspectives, you know, like that in the raw, not, you know, with an engine. Sometimes it's very important to your improvement to try to spend the time yourself understanding the game. If you put the engine, of course, you're going to get the answers much faster, but I think your learning process is going to be so much slower. So I prefer to work without engines.
And if you want to see the engine, it's not difficult. Just go to uschesschamps.com, and in the Chess 24 module, when you click on Live Watch, you will see they have engines. It's great. You can turn them on or off if you would like as well. Okay, Sabina, I think we should jump over back to Group A for a moment, because Varuzhan Akobian might be scoring his first point. He's had a rough 2 days. Only one of two players, along with Sethu, who has no points in Group A. But now, against Alexei Sarana, with the black pieces, he's looking pretty good.
Wow. So this is the current position, guys. It's for sure, Ben. Thanks for pointing this out. It's certainly a great game, and he seems really confident. I think yesterday when we signed off with Caleb, we thought Var was going to win his game. He had such a great position, but a few moments after we signed off, I noticed that fortunately he had blundered and the game went, you know, in the favor of Daniel Naroditsky. So yeah, it would be nice to see him, you know, come back, and he seems we see him on the screen. He seems very confident, but okay. I guess I say that about everyone, you know. They seem confident. I'm just trying not to reveal their real secrets, you know.
Oh, those are real secrets. Tell us more, Sabina.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
They're all cracking inside, emotionally.
Yeah, they just look like they're confident. Okay, so then the b3 pawn fell, and now this a4 pawn looks like it might be falling, and I do not really see a counterplay for white. This bishop in a1 is completely dead, and the queen has to stay passive to protect the weak king. So for sure, I mean, I'm expecting a win from Var from this position. Okay.
I want to give a shout out to a few people in the chat. Patrick Daly, it's good to see you back. You're welcome. Yes, I was the one who unblocked you. It was an accident. Very sorry. But welcome back. Yes, I've been an employee with the St. Louis Chess Club for at least forever. This is a fact. And you've been a viewer for at least forever. So that's cool. The e5 rook looks trapped. Yes, in the Elshon game. Yeah, that's. I would concur. Patrick as well. Tim Priest, right on. Max the Chess Kid, thanks for joining us. So we have the YouTube chat open. If you have any thoughtful questions or insights, send them our way. And you can also join the conversation on Twitter, #WinterChessClassic. And there's so much more to come. We've already had one game decided today in Group B, Alexei Sorokin winning against young Christopher Yu. And let's jump back to Group B and take a look at another game.
Of course.
How about?
I'll let you choose.
How about I'm going to choose Justin Wang versus Tigran Haratunian.
Let's do that. Let's see.
We had
Another endgame.
Yeah. And the good thing about starting at the time we do is we really get to see when these games break down into the endgames for the most part. Tigran, we talked to yesterday, very soft-spoken individual. Justin Wang, 2 days ago, we talked to him. I remember the first time Justin played here at the St. Louis Chess Club, I believe it was the Winter Chess Classic 2017. I could be wrong. But I call him the kid with the hat because he was just a tiny, tiny kid walking around with this baseball cap.
Yeah, I remember because I did play him that tournament. That was the one that I lost against him.
Yeah, so he's back. He's just a tiny bit taller without the hat. So it's good to see that he's still playing the game of kings. What's going on in this game right here? Oh, we have a result. It looks like Akobian has indeed defeated Alexei Sarana. Well, DGT is showing it's a draw, but you can see right there that's a win for black, so that will update here shortly. Var Akobian has defeated Alexei Sarana, so no doubt we want to get Akobian in here for an interview.
For sure, yeah, that would be great, and I think everyone in St. Louis is rooting for him, given that he's unofficially. All right, we cannot say anything, but yeah, I think he's trying very hard to play good chess, and I believe he's really close to qualifying for the U.S. Championship next year, so he's probably trying his best to gain some rating in this tournament, play some great chess, of course.
And isn't that crazy that it's not a given anymore? Like he's like, oh, he's almost qualified, right? Like before, like he's a mainstay of the U.S. Championship. Like it's unbelievable that he's right on the edge now.
On the edge, yeah.
You've got Dominguez coming here. We had So a few years back coming here, changing federations. So it's a really, really strong field.
Yeah, but not just that. There are a lot of youngsters these days who play really great chess. They work very hard, and they have, they don't need to worry about too much. They just enjoy the game, and I think as you get older, it's not that you don't play good anymore. I think you just have to continue working even harder because
life obligations.
Of course, you have kids that you have to take care of. You have other passions too, and then maybe sometimes chess goes on, second place or something. Yeah. But I'm sure. He's going to try to come. I mean, it's great to come back with black pieces. So I'm sure we'll see other great games from him. But I hope we'll have him down here in the studio very soon. And this game, let's get back to this game as we are trying to get Var to join us.
So there's no passed pawns, and we have equal material.
Yeah.
Is it an equal game?
Well, it's not really like that. It's pretty symmetrical, but black is more advanced. We can see all of these pawns being pushed a little bit more than white's pawns, so it's clearly black is more active. Just look at their pieces, much more advanced than white's pieces, which are kind of, of course, both rooks have an open file, but this knight in f2 is certainly not doing so great. If white would be able to get somehow this knight all the way to d4, I think they might be doing fine, although even then, ideas with maybe a5, b4 for black could be something to to be looked out for. You know, the idea is as follows. If you try to play for a draw against the grandmaster, they will find a way to keep pushing you back until eventually they will succeed. So I don't think the defensive approach works. I would say black is better here.
Well, I think Justin just tried to reposition his knight d1.
Okay, did he make a move? Okay, knight to d1. All right, so he's trying to bring the knight. Okay, so that's the idea. You know, I think you always should start with ideas. You should not always just look for moves. You should try to find ideas first and then look for the moves to make those ideas happen. So here he's probably trying knight e3, try to trade the knight, or if not, maybe just go for a much better square for the knight. So, but I feel like f4 could be... but wait a second. If black does play f4 in this position, then they will give up this square. So they have to think twice if it's really worth it.
And then
I would play
we
it.
find the rook
I would still
just
play it.
settling on e4 straight away.
Not sure if you want the rook there or the knight. I think white in this position should be more worried about their knight than about their rook. That's my opinion. So f4, I would certainly want to play f4 here with black, but we'll see if Tigran Harutyunyan is going to go for that move. I would go for it personally, but of course it's not my move, so
Right.
I can say anything. Not really. I have to be careful.
We can say anything down here.
Yeah. Very interesting. So hopefully someone is going to bring Var to join us. We don't know yet.
Actually, I've just been told that
Okay.
the one and only Var Akobian is here for an interview.
Oh, great.
So let's
All
pull
right.
up a game, and I will see you in just a bit.
Sounds great. Let us look, guys, at... let's go back to this very interesting endgame of Elshan against Melik Khachiyan. So, okay, no changes have happened in this game, so certainly a tough position for black, and we might have to wait a little bit longer for that game. The other game that we were really looking at today and we thought it's going to be the matchup of the day was the game between Gabuzyan Hovhannes and Jeffery Xiong. So this game, wow, a lot of things have happened since we last looked at it. So it looks like white got a little bit more active, and then we have some queen entering in f2. Bishop a6, all right. And we have Var here with us today. Well, congratulations.
Thanks, yeah.
What a great game today.
Yeah.
How do you feel about
Yeah, I feel great.
game?
Yeah, today was a really good game actually. I was, I was really upset from yesterday because, I thought I played a pretty good game yesterday and got a winning position against Daniel, and just not one, not two, not three, like 4 or 5 times I could probably win the game yesterday. And then I could draw the game like I don't know how many times, and I just end up overpressing and losing. So it was like the worst feeling. And today I was like, okay, I started with 2 losses. I need to just be solid. So I played solid game, but then somehow I got a good position.
Yeah, that's great. It's
And
always great, especially if you're playing black pieces and you have to... We were actually looking at your game yesterday with Caleb, and we really, when we signed off, we thought you were going to win the game. And then I was looking back at the games, I noticed that you had blundered a few times, played some difficult moves, and then things went south. But okay, it happens. It's nice to bounce back.
No, this is an important win for me because, like you say, bounce back, and now still with 6 more games to go. So
yeah. And did you, was this a opening preparation?
No, I didn't prepare that much today. I was just like, tried to play something, and he played everything. So he played e4, he played d4, he played knight f3. So I didn't want to prepare against all this. So I just play something that I know. So I think the opening was just more or less equal, and
no, this is pretty standard. A6.
C5. The idea is I really need to get B5 in here.
Yes.
B5. If you don't play B5, Bishop B7, you're always going to be worse here. So
Yeah, this bishop.
so you really need to play C5, and the idea is now if B5, let's say knight D5.
You mean instead of c5 or now?
Instead of he played B3, right? So here, if he plays knight D5, so the idea is I have this move knight D5, which is very important. And then I'm blockading this diagonal, and I'm getting my bishop up
And
to
then
B7.
bishop B7.
Yeah. So I think I'm absolutely fine. So he played B3. I think this is still theory, but I think black is just absolutely fine. It was extremely solid for both players. He played this move E4. To be honest with you, I wasn't so sure about E4, but on the other hand, if he wants to try something, what else he can really do? Because I'm just going to play rook F8, rook AC8. I'm just extremely solid here. So, but E4 weakens the position, so I don't know.
Yeah, it
it's
just
a
gives
move that
up
you have
this.
to be
Maybe
careful.
he's trying to play something like knight or reverse colors or something, but
Okay, then I just play logical, rook F8, rook Fc8, and important move right here, knight B8, yeah? Because I have to bring my knight to C6 to try to threaten some knight B4 and knight D4 ideas. I think this is very important. Instead of just sitting there, you have to try to get active. And now he played knight E5, and again, knight FD7. I want to get rid of that knight and bring my other knight to...
Yeah, you don't want to let them trade it, just trade it that way. So for example, if he was going to play here knight F3, do you just try to chase him? Or?
No, I don't want to play F6. I think it's just weakening. I was just going to take knight C6, and I think it's just equal. I mean, I don't have any problems, but I don't think I can be better either. So it's it's just.
But white still has this.
This
problem. If they manage to play D4, probably it's equal.
I thought you would play Queen E3, Queen E2, maybe Queen E3, and okay. In the long run, maybe if I trade dark square bishops, I can put a rook on D4. Then I have some chances. But again, I don't have any problems. So I was happy with the opening outcome here.
Yeah, I mean, when you play black, you have to equalize first. And
so
then
I wasn't too ambitious today. I just wanted to make sure I play solidly. And now,
A3.
Okay, in A3. So the idea is he stops knight B4 and.
Maybe Queen B1. He should try to just let you.
He could, but then I play rook CD8 maybe.
You just put the pressure on.
His idea, I think, was to play maybe Queen E2 and Queen E3. I didn't see what I can do, even though it looks like when I play knight D4, I'm kind of blockading this, but I didn't see anything better for me. So I went for this line. Okay, it should be equal, but I do have a little bit of a space advantage. But what happened was, okay, rook C7.
You have to
something
trade.
strange happened very unexpectedly. So. First of all, I don't think he should play F4. So I think F4 is already an inaccuracy because he should just play bishop H3. And I was going to take on C1, Queen C1, play something like Queen C6.
Maybe just trade and.
Yeah, I didn't see. I think it's just.
You don't really
probably going to be a draw. I didn't see what I can do here. So I think.
Yeah, I mean, just having the extra space is not enough. You don't.
Yeah, because we only have bishops, so.
Yeah,
but F4 is actually a little bit weakening now. So, and then I think this is a very important moment here. So I play this move H6. The whole point now, every time he takes on E5, I have this bishop G5 idea.
Yeah, so he can't.
So that just loses.
Wait.
Yeah.
Directly? Oh yeah,
no,
because
yeah, that loses right away. Yeah.
It's nice you have the rook in C7, not C8,
exactly.
so he cannot take.
So, so he took. Well, this was maybe an inaccuracy. Maybe you should have just played bishop H3. But again, after F4, White's got some problems because it really weakened his position, and he has to be careful now. I think it's probably still manageable, but I was going to play something like bishop D6 here. It's I can never be worse.
You have to keep the pressure, and of course, like.
But what happened next was really, really strange. So he played this. I played bishop C8. Take.
Trading seems natural, but
actually,
now you're
it's tricky. Now it's actually
whose
some
bishop
problems.
is better?
No, black is clearly better now because the bishop is better on B2, and
it turned out he lost because of that bishop.
Yes, exactly. He thought it's just going to be a draw. He didn't expect it. But now, like let's say you play Queen C1 here, right? The problem is Queen G4. It's very strong.
Yeah, you don't trade because now his king is weak.
I have this H6 worked out really well for me because it gave me a loft and also gave me the G5. So I think now it's serious problems here because.
What about here taking?
Bishop G5 again.
Bishop G5, Bishop E3.
Yeah, this might be. Very dangerous.
Seems like a killer. And your queen in g4 is still very strong. It's
Yeah.
it's always great, guys, if you're
Okay.
for everyone who's watching, try to keep your queen on the opposite color than the bishop. It's much easier said than done, but when you get to do it, it's always.
So
it
so
seems
he
like.
took, and now bishop g5, and okay, the next.
And now you're entering in e3.
I am, yeah, but it's still extremely hard to win because, as you can see, there's not so much material. Okay, very important move here is a5, because I don't want to allow him to play b4. I want to try to get as much space as possible, and I want to play the move a4 here, fix the weakness on
This
the
is
light
all black.
square,
Yeah.
on the
I
dark
mean,
square,
yeah.
yes, for the bishop endgame. So he played a4, and this is very important, b4. It looks like I'm locking everything, and but it's a very difficult position for white here because he basically cannot do anything. He just has to go back and forth now.
Yeah, he seems pretty much kind of in zugzwang.
Yeah.
And this extra pawn is useless. Just
Yeah, but I have to figure out a way to take it, but I cannot just come in with the queen and take it because he's got a queen e3 tactic.
That's why you brought the king.
Yeah.
I saw that. I really like that
At
idea.
first, I was trying to do something else. Like I played g6. This is correct. Everything is correct. First, I was trying to.
Just make sure all your pieces are well placed. Make sure you keep the tension somewhere.
And again, he cannot play the move bishop c1 because I can take and queen b3. So the b3 pawn is very important here.
He has to stay here to
So
protect it.
he played h3.
To make sure no queen g4 is
Now
happening
king
anymore.
h7. Okay, I didn't see anything clear. Then I said, okay, I'm going to go back to this idea and make time control.
Yeah, that's what I
Queen
said.
c8, very important move, by the way, keeping an eye on h3. So, and again, white barely can move. It's so back and forth, and now I brought the king to e6, and of course he just blundered here. He made it a lot easier. Queen f1 is just a really bad move.
Because you just get queen c2.
He missed king takes e5 actually, that I can just take.
Ah, okay, and he's
Yeah.
Oh, he
And
probably thought.
He
What did he
was
think?
looking at some other options, like king e7. Or
Yeah,
something.
but this is just a great.
Yeah, he missed that. If he
zugzwang
takes
pawn.
on f7, I go check on d1 and check on g1. This is a key move, and then just give mate on f2.
Yeah.
But the key is if he had played queen c2 blunder, which loses. So sorry, queen d1.
Queen d1 instead of queen f1.
Queen f1.
You're still
no,
going to take, no?
this actually I think I'm probably winning after king takes e5, and then my plan is actually to go back. Let's say you play queen e2, I go back, and
With the
then
king?
I'm going actually queen c6 and f5. And then I think I'm going to win this.
Very nice.
feel like.
Why do you? Oh, you go back, because of course
Because
you don't want to
take
lose,
on e3, yeah.
lose over
But
here, of
the
course.
problem is king h2, move number.
Sorry.
Yeah. So right here, king h2. I wasn't 100% sure how I win this because I know I'm very close, but
Because you cannot take the
I
pawn.
cannot take the pawn. Well, actually, there is this
Wait,
line.
you could take it here.
Yeah,
can't you?
but unfortunately,
check.
it doesn't work. Take, queen check, king g1, and you don't have queen b1 because he has
Yeah, queen c1.
queen c1, very
Yeah.
important. So have to take and queen
And
g5.
then he manages
No,
to
g5.
g5. Ah, yeah, g5 and d5.
And it's
then
going to give me a lot of
probably
checks now. This is just a draw. So
you have to put
I
him in
had-
zugzwang somehow.
I have to figure out a plan. I wasn't 100% sure what is my plan here. I was going to try queen c5 maybe.
Oh, wait. So after king h2, just queen c5.
But he goes king g2.
So I guess you can
I
never...
guess I can go queen e5 now. Because if he takes queen e3, the king and pawn endgame, I think
Should
it's
be
winning.
winning, right?
Take, king.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's winning. King e2, and I have
Some moves.
I
Maybe
have some moves, but I also have king c3. I can just go king c3.
Ah, because you're much faster.
Yeah,
Yeah, this pawn
king
is going to be
c3,
much
take
faster.
both
And you're
pawns,
you're
yeah.
entering the box too,
Yeah.
if you need it.
So this is winning, luckily. So, but queen c2 he has. After I take queen e5. Again, if I manage to take the pawn and come back to the c file, then I will win with the f5 plan. But now he goes here, and I'm not 100% sure now what's going to happen here. Because now he's threatening to activate his queen, and also he's threatening bishop c1.
Yeah, so maybe tougher. Well, I wonder if you cannot.
But also I don't need to take right away on
Could
e5.
you just move your bishop first and then try to take it? Like, for example, after king h2, queen c5, I like that move, and then king g2. Can you try to move the bishop somewhere? Is there going to be queen f2?
you know?
And then, so like, here, for example,
Queen
queen
F2.
f2. Can we take it?
Well, can
And then he just waits.
wait. Can he take on f7?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Take
Maybe.
on f7. Check.
Maybe it's
queen
not
f2,
enough.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, but this is interesting. Queen d3. Maybe I'm still. But okay, this is.
Of
not
course, it
as
needs to be
comfortable.
calculated
Yeah.
and
No, I mean
analyzed.
this might be still
You had
winning,
made the
but
time control, so
yeah, but yeah, okay. I have some. You know, maybe I can do something a little bit different here. I don't know, but this is the way to do it for sure for him.
yeah,
Stay put, you know.
yeah.
I also had another
But
plan
it's
of
always
g5.
very hard
Yeah.
when you try to defend. At some point, you'll make a
Yeah.
mistake if you're the one putting the pressure. You're always in
Yeah,
control
yeah,
of
I
the
agree. Yeah,
position.
but luckily, yeah, just he made it easier with the move queen f1,
Queen f1,
and
big
then I
blunder.
just it's just once the queen enters, it's just he cannot do anything. So
Yeah,
queen c2 and king e5.
great. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to have you. I was
Thank you.
wondering when you would we would get
Well,
to
I
here.
had to win a game, you know.
Yes,
if,
of
if
course.
you don't win a game, you don't
It's
come
great.
here. So hopefully I'll be
So,
back again.
Yeah, whom do you have tomorrow?
I don't know who I
Oh, you
play,
don't know,
to be
okay.
honest with you.
I do
you
the
know.
same. I never look exactly.
Yeah, I'm just
at my
happy
opponents.
to win after 2 losses and just now looking forward to the rest of the tournament because, you know, when you start with
with a loss.
0 out
or
of
2
2, it's like
losses,
you have
yeah.
all kinds of things in your head, you know. It's like you're...
Yeah, but tomorrow you have white pieces and you just have to
Yeah.
continue doing
Yeah,
what.
I might actually have black because at some
Ah.
point I have double black. I don't know if it's
All right,
tomorrow
I
or...
have not checked
you
the
know.
pairings yet. I
At
guess.
some point I know I have double black, but, you know,
All right.
we'll see. Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything you want to say to any of the viewers?
No, I think this is a
feel like-
really enjoyable tournament, and I
Okay.
want to thank the chess club, St. Louis Chess Club, for hosting this tournament. I play few of them a year,
Mhm.
and I think this is a really good opportunity for the players like my rating range between 2620 to 2670.
Mhm.
It's a really nice tournament to play, and see if you can improve, get some rating points,
Yeah.
and opportunity to play people exactly your level. So it's
Yeah.
and the conditions are fantastic. So. Yeah. Thank you to the club for organizing it.
I agree, and thanks for having me as well here.
Thank you. Yeah,
commentating.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. We wish you good luck in
Thank
the
you.
next rounds, and we hope to see you again here soon.
Thanks a bit.
All right. So, as we're getting Ben back, let us see. Let's go back to our key matchups of the day. I feel like I keep going on the same games all the time. But let's see if any improvements have happened in this game. Elshan against Khachiyan. Okay, a lot of things have, not that many things have changed, but so we had king to d4, and then black went for g4 in this position. Very interesting. So trying to go with the pawn and try to create some counterplay. And now, because you push that pawn, now we need to have some, to improve some of our pieces. Rook f6 seems only natural, and now rook g5. Is this move possible? Ben, you're back.
I am.
So what do you think about this position?
Legally, is it
You
possible?
just saved it.
Yes.
What? They
I wasn't
agreed on
looking
a
at this
draw?
game, honestly. Oh, it's drawn!
Did they agree on a draw, or is there a mistake? Can we have a
Well, maybe
camera
we
on
could
them?
get a shot of them.
I'm a little bit
I'm not
surprised because
sure.
after e7, why would they agree on a draw after e7? White should be winning after rook f8, unless I'm missing something. What do you have, Ben?
Well, we wouldn't know for sure until we get a shot of their board, if possible. But yeah, it's right now DGT is reading draw. The way that the DGT technology works, they're all digital boards, those wooden boards they have upstairs that you see on the cameras, and okay, yes, I have it confirmed
It's a
that this
draw?
game is a draw.
Interesting. Okay.
so-
I'm a little bit surprised.
Right,
Okay.
but sometimes it's incorrect. They put the kings on opposite color squares in the center to signify a draw. Black squares to signify black wins, and white for white, of course. So it's all mechanical, and if the arbiter puts them on the wrong squares at first, then they have to go and fix it. So how was this a draw?
This is what has happened, so I guess they agreed on a draw because now white is just going to repeat the position over here. I thought white could win, but I guess I was wrong. Because this tactical idea with rook g5 and trying to go with that g pawn, there's no way you can really stop it. So after rook f8 check, king to g7, we cannot just take this rook We don't have sufficient time to improve in this position. If the rook moves, then we're going to lose the c7 pawn. And if we give one more check here and try to take it again, it's not going to work, and black will be winning here with this pawn going for promotion. So I guess they agreed on a draw after e7 because white after g3 was going to go for this repetition over here. So
a draw in this Group B game, but also moments ago in Group A, we had a draw in a very important game between two of the four leaders. I'm talking about Grigory Oparin as black and Daniel Naroditsky as white. You know, these two had met one time before in a classical game. It was 2014 in Riga at an open tournament. Same colors. Daniel had the victory in that game, I do believe. They were two junior players back then, but today it's a draw in what could have been a very pivotal matchup in the standings. Is there anything to talk about here, or is it just pretty cut and dry?
I'm not sure if we actually have the entire game. I'm given an error for my game. Do you have the same position?
I have the same position.
All right.
Yeah, move 31, yeah.
All right, so I guess they agreed on a draw here. They just reached move 31, and they decided, all right, now it's the time before one of us is going to try to go for a win. Of course, I'm joking. You have to make some jokes, otherwise it might seem like too much of a serious.
We're just dry dullards. Yeah. Okay, one of the games that is going down right now in Group B, Sergei Azarov versus Sergei Ehrenberg, a U.S. championship veteran. And Ehrenberg, the only player in Group B right now who has not scored anything thus far, and well, it's not looking for him it's not looking good for him right now on the clock because he still has 7 moves to make and only about a minute. Yeah, they're working with a 30-second delay. Yeah, 40 seconds right now.
I think, yeah.
Increment.
Right?
Pardon me. Yeah,
no,
increment.
No, yeah, just making sure I got it right.
I've been dealing with that Grand Chess Tour. I got delay on the brain.
That's true. It's a very tough position for black here because white has a little bit more space and a pair of bishops. This a6 pawn is pretty weak. The knight is pretty passive for the moment. So, I mean, the good thing about this position, I have to say, is that it's closed. So when a position is not really open, they're not like really forced moves having to be done. The fact that you're in such time trouble is not as bad because you can just pretty much shuffle the pieces around a little bit until you get to move 40, and then you get the chance to think a little bit more once you will have reached move 40 and gotten some additional time. But it's still very tough to make sure you're not dropping anything. There's always a lot of pressure in these moments. I really do enjoy white's position. Now Azarov went to rook a5, and now he's trying to just put additional pressure on that pawn, probably. Rook a1. It's going to be a pretty tough day for Sergei Ehrenberg.
So rook a1 and then b5. Could you play it then?
I could try to play b5. Maybe I should triple in the file before I do that, because right now, you know, you got a lot of protection on that rook in e8. But I could try to triple on the file. That would be great. And then just like rook a2 or a3, or maybe a2, and then queen a1, something like that probably. I would love to do. And I'm not really seeing a very easy plan for black, so it's certainly going to be a game to look out for after the time trouble, after they will have reached move 40.
Azarov you may not be too familiar with Sergei Azarov here, the viewers at home. He is the top seed in this field in Group B by FIDE rating. He notably won he finished in first, tied on Millionaire Monday for the very first Maurice Ashley's Millionaire Chess back in 2014. And he's one of the best players in Belarus. Belarus in number 3 right now. So we might be seeing a lot more of him and in this tournament.
For sure. I wonder if he lives in the U.S. I think I've seen him play in the United States a lot. I don't know. That's a question we can ask him. I will try to ask some different questions. Our viewers today, I feel like
We love your questions.
we're
Sabina.
going through the same thing over and over, so I feel like I should make some small changes. I wonder if...
Can I suggest a game?
Yes, of course.
Sam Sevian versus Grandmaster Sethu in Group A. I'm hearing it's a bombastic game, and we got to
Wow.
take a look at it.
That sounds amazing. All right, let's check it out. I
Bombastic.
see an extra pawn for white, right? And kind of a bad knight here, but there's a bad knight here too. I do prefer white's knight though, because it seems like it's going to be coming into the game much easier.
And now these players are down to a functional blitz game because they have 8 moves left to the time control, where they each get 30 minutes added on. 2 minutes versus 1 minute here.
And they both have below 2 minutes. Okay, they are getting the increment, but still. And it is... Let's go back a few moves just to see what has happened. So it seems like Sam actually has had this extra pawn for quite some time, and he has allowed for some trades. Knight to d4. Okay, he's bringing the king into the game. He kind of seems to have forgotten about this knight in the margin, which I don't think it's good. Knight b5, attracting this move a4, and now he's going to prepare to play a5, break white's chain of pawns, and that's basically what has happened. That's how black was able to get the pawn in a5 and then get their knight trapped over there. I enjoy white's position. What do you think, Ben?
Well,
What would you pick?
yeah,
White's
I mean, I would
position.
pick white because the first thing I saw, not only is there an extra pawn on the board, but it's a pass pawn. And so is it fair to say that part of black's knight on the rim right there, it's life duty now for the rest of the game is to stop that pawn from going down the board? I mean, there's knights on the rim, but there's not a black pass pawn over on the H-file here.
Yes, that is true. I mean, that a pawn is a passed pawn, and that knight stops it indeed. But also, it's a weak pawn, so it's might be a little bit, difficult to actually get to push it.
Okay.
But yeah, I also, as I said, I would take white in this position. It could be a very tough day for Sethu if he ends up losing this position, because he does come after 2 losses. Will Sam Sevian be able to take him down in this game? We'll have to wait and see.
Sevian just
He
played a move here.
He brought his knight into the game. Yay.
Well, how about that?
He didn't like my knight f5. He went through f3. Probably he was thinking, okay, if I go in f5, maybe I will have to deal with g6 and my knight will have to be moved again. But if I go to f3, I'm home. I can support that d4 pawn push, bring my king closer to the center, and then I can think forward on how I'm going to improve the position more.
So
You have to take it step by step.
to the layman watching this this stream and they don't know about the time increment.
Yes.
There's 20 seconds left for Sevian, but with 30-second increment, I have to ask you, should we stay on this game until they make time control, or should we go to a game we haven't seen before?
We can certainly stay on this game, see a little bit. Unless you have some very interesting game that you want to go to.
It's a game we haven't looked at yet.
Let's
I think
check
we've
it
looked
out.
at all
Let's
of
check
them.
it out.
Okay, let's.
We can come back after the time. Actually, we should go back to our game of the day for the A group
Gabuzyan
at some
Xiong.
point. Yeah, because a lot of things seem to have changed there. But we can certainly check out that Jumabayev Erdos. I think that was the game that you wanted to look at, right?
Oh, bonus. No, it
No,
wasn't.
bonus.
But
All right.
let's look at all of them. Yeah.
All right.
Let's go to Jumabayev and Erdos.
Let's do that.
So Group A action right here. One of the games we have not seen yet.
Yes, this game we have not seen yet, but I do like white in this position, Ben. White's pieces are a little bit more active, even if black does have a little bit more space by this pawn in e4. Just because you have the pawns pushed a little bit doesn't necessarily mean it's always good. Like here, for example, there's no chain of pawns for black, so this f5 pawn could be something you have to watch for. There's some pressure there. We also have currently, of course, there's a threat on this knight in f4, so we need to move it somewhere. I would definitely go for knight e6 here. What do you think?
Well, that move catches my attention.
Pretty aggressive.
It's pretty natural too.
Yeah, maybe get the knight to d4, keeping the d file closed and then trying to switch on the c file. That could be something that White can do. I mean, it's certainly something to consider, and both of them also are in time trouble.
Yeah.
They're approaching move 40, but they have less than a minute on the clock, and look at Jumabayev's time, if that is correct, 35 seconds. So he probably waited for the previous move. Oh, he played my move. Oh, I feel so good when I guess moves, you know. I should do this more often. Knight e6, rook d7, and now rook d5. As I said, you know, some pressure on that f5 pawn. So I guess he didn't, he decided it's not important to rush moving the knight back to d4, just try to keep some activity. And actually in time trouble, when both of the players are really low on time, I find always interesting that they try to make complicated moves to make the opponent, you know, be more prone to making mistakes. So rook f6 attacking the knight. I'm not sure.
Jumabayev just made a really quick move there.
He did?
He noticed he was down on the clock. He went down to 5 seconds.
Yeah, this is the second time he's going to 5 seconds. Huh, so tough. Oh, look at them. Look at this. Look at how concentrated both of them are. This position. They are going to give their best shot.
And they still have 3 moves to make until time control. Now they're gonna do it.
And they have to write their moves. We have to point it out. When you are playing a tournament that has increment, you are forced by the rules to write every single move. Longer time ago, when there was no increment, actually people were able to just put dots on their score sheet, or just make lines so that they actually kind of keep track of how many moves they had made. But these days, with this increment, you cannot trick the system anymore.
Yeah, you got to have tried and true notation, or else you will be penalized.
That is true.
Sabina, we have a result in our key
Okay.
matchup in Group A. A 3-fold repetition on the board. Gabuzyan and Xiong have drawn.
Mm-hmm. All right. Not something we would have expected. So I guess today we picked 2 draws for our matchups. I'm not sure. Maybe we should do a better prediction. I'm joking.
These games were not my pick, okay?
No. All right.
I hear raucous laughter in the other room. I don't know what that's about.
I'm just. I wonder if we're going to get any of these players to come down to.
Well,
did you feel that any of these 2 games were interesting enough so that we asked them to join us?
look,
Today, no, you don't seem excited.
No,
Right.
I'm perfectly excited. Look, I can't contain my excitement. No, that's up to Danny in the back and Tony in the other room. If these players want to talk, let's do it. But let's look at a game that we haven't seen yet, and I'm talking about Emilia Cordova and Federico Perez Ponza in Group B. We have Peru versus Argentina.
Argentina, yeah. Whew.
Another endgame, and hey, look, everybody's calm here because they've made time control. They had that half hour each added back on.
And we're seeing the video of Perez Ponza's thinking. He does not seem happy, so maybe has made a mistake previously. Doesn't think this position is winning anymore. Actually, have not seen the position before, but he does have 2 pawns up. But the problem is that one of them is going to be falling. I always make this mistake. Nope, didn't want. All right. One of those pawns is going to be lost, and his opponent is walking around, maybe confident that he has saved the game. What do you think, Ben?
Well, I'm curious what black does right now.
That's going to be a problem. He has to decide which of those 2 pawns to give up. It's not like he can actually save the d6 pawn, unfortunately, so that pawn will fall. I think white should definitely capture that d6 pawn first, and then see what else is going to happen.
So would you play something as simple as bishop
not so easy.
c8?
No,
I mean,
no,
good,
no,
it's
for
just-
sure not. No,
yeah,
you
it just
really
looks-
do not want to go that passive with black here. I wonder what he has done earlier. Okay, so all right, so he probably miscalculated something in this position. I don't think he was forced to give this check. So he wanted to take white's pair of bishops. So he went for 91 check, forcing the trade. But maybe this rook b6 is something he might have missed. Maybe he thought white would just capture this pawn in b7, and then he could do something like. No, but still, I don't know what could he have envisioned in this position. Certainly very interesting. Actually, is there any other... Okay, let's go back to this game, Ben. Justin Wang against Harutunian, because this was a game that we thought white was trying to play for a draw. I mean, we assumed. But as I told you, black was kind of more active, and I see an interesting... Where were we exactly? So we did see f4. This was a move that I had mentioned that I believe black should do that. They have the ability to get more space on the king side as well. So f4, rook to d2, and now black is switching the file. All right, rook to e5. So making sure the white does not have any kind of activity with their rook. Rook trades should not be in white's favor in this position. They would love some trades, but not rook trades, because this knight is going to die here. So a4. So finally, Justin Wang is trying to make some active moves, try to trade some pawns. In endgames, when you're passive, you usually have to try to find a way to get active, and the best way is to trade pawns, because you get rid of some pieces from the board, and also you create some more you open some more files and create some squares for some of your pieces. So this is a very interesting idea. You cannot take, that would be terrible, because then rook takes, and finally white gets active, and you've completely destroyed that beautiful chain of pawns. So of course black should not touch that side of the board. So Harutunian went for g4. Justin Wang captured, but now the problem is, like, he needs to try to play some b3 too, but it's going to be very difficult. That move does not currently work because we capture, so he's retreating to d2, and probably he's going to try to stay here and wait to see if black has any progress.
I just don't see how either side makes progress here.
You need to try to find some way to enter with the king. Certainly black now has some entrance in b3. That's good to keep in mind for the king later on, in case you're going to get into an endgame, maybe king and pawn endgame or something. You can have that in mind. The king will just circle around like that, and we'll see if you make it. Of course, white could stop you with king c2 and then no progress, but usually, like, you try to find a way to break the queen side, make sure you push white's king back, and then eventually you get to the other pawns back on the king side. But here we have a lot of tensions, some pawns that might get traded, so it's not that easy to decide how exactly you want to make the trades. I do like an idea of knight e3 at some point. I wonder if it actually works here. Probably not.
Sabina, I've just been told
Yes?
we ask and we shall receive. Grandmaster Jeffery Xiong will be here in the studio in just a few minutes.
All right, that would be great. So
But
I
you-
need to come up with some very interesting questions. Fast.
Very interesting questions.
Very interesting questions.
Just have him tell his life story. They love when you ask.
Yeah,
for
I'm
their
not
life story.
sure. I'm not sure if I'll manage to do that. I'll try my best. I'll try my best. let's see. By now, I feel that we should have passed time travel. So if you want to go back to the game between Azarov and Sergey Ehrenberg, so the time travel has passed.
Jeffrey's ready to come in, so
All
I will
right.
get out of here, and we'll
All
take a
right,
look at this
so I
game
have
in
to
the
talk.
interim.
All right. So as we get Jeffrey all set up with the mic, let's take a look at this game, which just finished. Time travel, we're move 40. So a lot of things have changed since we have last seen it. Bishop takes a6, so white finally managed to take that pawn in a6, but to the price of giving up the pawn in e5. So I'm not sure if that was a good trade or not. We are getting Jeffrey set up here. Maybe we can ask his opinion. What does he think about this position? As we will have him. And he is ready. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hi.
Nice game. Very balanced game today, I think. I pulled up this position. Would you mind sharing your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Let's have a look.
Between Sergey Azarov and Sergey Ehrenberg. I was thinking white is better for a really long time. Black was pretty passive, but they just got the chance to take the pawn in e5.
So it's white?
It's white's turn.
Okay.
They just made move 40.
Yeah, it looks very promising for white if he can start pushing the pawns right away. I mean, black is looking for a counterplay with d3, but let's see. So I guess I cannot play b5, right? b5, rook a5? Is that
Yeah,
the
maybe,
idea?
but then
Let's
you can
see.
take with the b5.
The problem is...
You want to take with the bishop or bishop, right?
Then
Because
b5 is hanging.
yeah, and you
If
cannot
queen
take with
f5,
the
rook
queen.
a8, yeah. So that's... Although...
It's a very
yeah, I
tricky.
think d5 is early, so...
But that's probably what white wants to do. Just start pushing the pawns because
Yeah.
they're connected pass pawns and.
Okay, wait, let's see. So if you play rook e1, looks logical. Where do you move the queen? Because if you go queen d5, I want bishop f4 to...
Ah, nice.
And
just
I
trying
think
to
it should
take-
be annoying,
Wait, what if I take? Oh no, my knight is hanging in the end. Never mind. Can't do that.
yeah. Maybe...
This might be a tough. This might be a tough position to defend for black. He made time trouble, but
Okay, let's see if you can move the queen elsewhere to at least cover f4.
like
Queen f6 or queen f5.
maybe f6 to contour.
And now I want to push b5.
And
Because
if
c5
takes, we
is
can
no
take
longer
with
attack.
the.
Queen, yeah. There's no
Mhm.
rook a8. Can you, can you go to f5 maybe instead of f6?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but it doesn't seem natural to put the queen and the bishop on the same.
But maybe you look for some queen c2 in one moment. Because now maybe b5, is it possible or not? So I wanted to take on a5. b5, rook a5, I mean.
Yeah. Complicated position. We'll have to. I don't know. I maybe I don't need to play. Maybe I don't need to play rook. Or maybe I just do this and then maybe rook c1. Would it be too slow?
Definitely possible because I mean white has a big strategic advantage, so you can take your time. But I'm curious, why was b5 not working on the previous move? Because if you can push, it should be good. Takes, queen takes.
You take with the queen. Ah, and then you go rook.
Yes, if you take, I want rook c1. And if you have bishop c2, but I guess I go b6.
Bishop d. Oh,
Bishop
d3.
d3 also good. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
bishop d3. Although wait, rook a8, rook c2.
Seems good. All right,
Should be good,
let's move on to your game. We're talking here a little bit about your game today. How do you feel about tell our viewers how do you feel about preparing playing the same opening with both colors?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. But okay, for me, in this particular example, with white I faced knight of 6 previous 2 games.
Yeah, that's true.
And here I play bishop c5, so it's 2 completely different systems.
I know.
So I guess here it wasn't really much of an issue for me.
Yeah, and this is not one. It's not really the main line, right? It's a good. I mean, one of the played lines, but it's not really for white, right? Knight b3.
I think knight b3
it's become more popular maybe
the most
these days.
popular, actually.
It's become more popular these days, so I should refresh on my.
But I mean,
Scotch.
the other moves are also played very often. Bishop e3, knight c6.
Yeah, yeah. And how do you feel about this game? Was there any moment that you weren't so, I don't know, so happy? I was thinking around here. I don't know if we have time to go over the entire game. I don't know. I know you have another game to play. We don't want to give you too much. But around this position, I was a little bit surprised. I really like your queen h5, h3, and I was a little bit surprised about the retreat, knight f7.
Yeah, well, actually, to be honest, I wasn't so optimistic about my position, even ever since I took on b3 and we got the structure, because I thought it's difficult for me to form a plan.
Yeah. I was thinking something like this. I don't know if it makes any sense, but maybe try to get your queen on somehow on this other side of the board and try to take advantage of, I don't know, because, okay, not f2, but I don't know, just try to get the queen on the other side since the king was there. Maybe try some c5, b4. Not sure.
I mean, the thing is, he's just going to double rook, so in the meantime, I'm not sure what I can do. Like, we put the queen on b8, and then he will double on d file.
Okay, maybe I don't put it too easy, just on b8, and then try some c5. But it's not so easy to make it work.
It's hard to push any pawns, that's the thing.
Yeah, if you could play b4 and then b5, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think actually the position was difficult ever since I took on b3 and we got the structure.
How did you feel? Did you feel at any moment that you might be maybe a little bit worse? Like maybe
I
after.
Think so. Yeah, like a4 was strong for him to create these weak squares. I think I couldn't really afford to take on a4 and open, weaken d7 pawn.
Yeah.
So I tried to lock it up.
But then it seemed like he got really active, like being able to take that d6 pawn.
Nice, yeah. I think, queen e4, he has to go this, takes. Here I think it was critical. After rook a8, I have to guard this back rank. This is the critical position, and we both didn't see anything straightforward for white. The main problem is this knight on c2, I think.
Yeah, it needs some activity.
It has no squares to advance.
Takes too long, bringing it like that.
Structurally, it's very nice for him. I have weak light squares everywhere. My king is weaker. For example, he had a chance for rook takes c6 here. Knight c6, bishop d3. And it's very close to mate. I have to play king g8. But I guess it's not more than a draw. He can always play like queen e6. I have to go back to h8, queen g6, back to g8. If he tries queen h7...
then you go back, king h8, and there's nothing, okay?
Yeah, he has to try queen h7 if he wants to play for a win.
Oops, I'm sorry.
King f7, bishop c4, I guess. I have to go to f6.
To keep that pawn protected.
But yeah, the problem for him is his knight doesn't participate.
Yeah.
The bishop and queen is not enough to mate. Okay, he can go queen e4 here maybe. But now I probably have a defense. I saw quite a few moves. Knight e5 is maybe the most natural. Stop queen e6. He can take on b7, so it gets messy, but after...
Maybe you can take the bishop, or you would have given it too much.
Okay, knight e5 I'm not sure about. I actually was thinking rook d8 to put on the open file, and after check to go up. And I didn't see... Again, without this knight, it's hard for him to...
Yeah, and now you're controlling d3 square, so he can just go back to try to mate here.
Yeah, I think I'm okay here. Probably even started to be better. So yeah, that's why this line was
it's still scary. It still looks a little bit scary.
But yeah, fortunately I didn't see. So, sorry, instead of rook e6, yeah, I wasn't sure.
About
I'm pretty sure he's better, but it's really.
yeah, I thought
hard.
white was better in this position, but you're right. The knight has some trouble, and maybe like having your queen here is actually helpful because you're always threatening some checks or queen f2,
Yeah.
trying to create some counterplay, and you're also keeping your king pretty safe with the queen there. So it's not so easy. And these knights also like pretty.
Yeah,
So
at
nice.
least they support each other. I mean, they're
Yeah.
not mobile at all, but they just
Yeah.
support each other and cover the.
So he
deep
probably
piece.
just tried to get rid of them, but then seems like you're
Mhm.
getting some.
Here, yeah, bishop
activity.
a6 was
Kind of
looks
interesting, but-
I don't think it does much for him.
You
I
kind of
thought,
have to take, right?
Well, sorry, let's just go back. I thought maybe the critical move is bishop b5.
Mm-hmm. Bishop b5.
Now he threatens to take on e5.
Yeah, that's the threat.
He said he was worried about queen g1 check. The idea is if king a2, queen g2. Now the knight on c2 is hanging. He cannot take on e5. Okay, it's still unclear after knight e1, queen g5, but probably it's okay for me.
Seems like you're able to keep the position
Yeah, I
pretty
keep it
balanced.
together. But the problem for me was after queen g1 check, he can block with the knight. And again, he threatens rook e5.
What about bringing your rook?
Yeah, rook d8 is most logical. But now I think he will sidestep with the king. So king a2.
Mm-hmm.
And my rook can never leave the back rank.
So this game certainly proves that no matter the result, that you can still have a very interesting and complicated game. And even if you might, as a viewer, we don't really see always all these very cool lines.
Yeah.
It's always nice to
That's a
have
good point.
someone come give some thoughts on the game, show us what they have thought. I always find it very, very interesting and appreciative, for you coming to share your thoughts with us. So how do you feel about this result? Are you happy with the draw today overall?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't have any chance of winning, and I was on the defensive side for most of the game. So, yeah, draw is a good result considering the game.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us and walking us through your game, some key points, and the other game as well, just giving us your thoughts. It means a lot. We wish you good luck in the future rounds, and we hope to see you again here very soon.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so as we get Ben back, I think we're getting ready to close up the show today, but I think maybe we can still look up at maybe one game, trying to figure out what changes have happened in this game from Group A. Ernadji Mabayev against Erdos Viktor. So they have made 40 moves, and now I still really, really think that I enjoy white in this position, definitely more active. And we have Ben back with us here.
Hey there, Sabina.
Hi,
I'm
nice
back.
to see you again.
Yeah.
Any
Nice, insightful interview from Jeffrey. I like
Yes.
that he was able to, he was willing to look over games other than his own.
Yeah,
So that was
I
really
felt
cool.
bad for making him do that.
Hey,
I had just
make him work. Make him work. The day's over, okay?
That's true, but he still has a lot of games to go, 6 more rounds, so we don't want to take too much advantage of everyone,
Right.
But,
Well, during that game, we actually,
had some results.
I don't think we had any new results.
Oh, we did not?
No.
All right.
Which was unusual.
It's-
So we still have 2 games going in Group A and 3 in Group B. Before we sign off today, though, I'd like to tell you can keep on watching at uschesschamps.com. But we have, the games are still going there via the Chess24 app. It's an amazing utility. They've got that engine there, like I said. It's all good. So those games will keep on going. And like I said, we start the rounds every day at 1 p.m. except the last round. So you want to get back on tomorrow at 1 p.m. on uschesschamps.com. Start watching the games, and at 3:30, it's going to be Sabina and Caleb back in action, and they'll be interviewing the players and analyzing the games. We have a couple of big tournaments coming up here at the St. Louis Chess Club to end out 2019, and one of them is going to deprive all of us of sleep, and it's amazing. We have coming up the Tata Steel India Rapid and Blitz from November 22nd to the 26th. In U.S. Central Time, this event will begin at 2:20 in the morning. If you're in India, it's going to be something quite reasonable, like 3 in the afternoon. So we hope you watch that at grandchesstour.org. And then, of course, that has a big bearing on the overall Grand Chess Tour point scheme, because the top 4 Grand Chess Tour point earners will then meet just a few days later in London for the Grand Chess Tour finals as a part of the London Chess Classic. So I think we have the standings. Let's roll them for our Masters division first. Remember, we have 2 games still in progress. We don't have a clear leader yet, Sabina, but...
That's true, but that's okay. That's okay. It makes it more interesting towards the end. You know, towards the last rounds, we're going to see a lot of fights for the first place, or maybe we'll have a tiebreak.
And we will.
And
we will have a playoff. We will not have a tie for first place at the end of this thing.
The playoffs.
That last day, we are going to have a playoff, so it's going to be a lot of fun if they don't settle it in regulation. And let's dance on over to Group B right here. We have Alexei Sorokin, as of right now, the only decisive winner for today. He's now in clear first, but we do see that perhaps Khachiyan could catch him. That game is still up in the air.
Yeah, we were looking at that game a lot.
Tied up. Yeah, he's playing Justin Wang right now.
So we might see a decisive result, and he might catch onto the leaders.
That's definitely a game you at home want to be looking at uschesschamps.com. But until tomorrow, we will sign off for now. Remember, Caleb, everybody's favorite host, will be back in this chair tomorrow. He was having some classes today, improving his future, so that's cool. And we will see you then. So this show was produced, as always, by the world's greatest production B team. Tony Chen was the streamer. We had Danny Machuca and Isaac Schranz in the control room. Your woman Grandmaster Sabina Foisor, the one and only. My name is Ben Simon. Until tomorrow, we say so long from the Show Me State.
Bye, everyone.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club.